This is the story of how I made my own Halloween costume this year from scratch. And I was none other than Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. So I thought I would phone it in this year and just wear a Sally dress that I already had, but then I realized I lost it. So now I was going to have to make a whole other costume in the span of about 2 days. But I'm a designer and I'm awesome, so let's do this. Headed out on the town to go see my bestie Joanne, but they're about to close in like 20 minutes, so I had to hustle. And I know what you're thinking. Why not just do a different costume? Why not change your plan? That is not how we do things on this channel. Started grabbing the colors that I was going to need. Some yellow, some purple, some lilac, and of course some black. I threw them all in my cart. Had to do a quick fit check, looking good. Then I raced over to go get a zipper. I actually ended up getting the wrong kind of zipper, a zipper that opens at the bottom instead of a dress zipper, but we're not going to talk about that. Then I suddenly got distracted by this super cute controller pillow, and I was like, add to cart. I got back to the main quest and headed for the fabric counter. I got about 1.5 yards of each, just in case I had any errors and needed some extra pieces. I wanted to look at Christmas stuff so bad, but there was no time, so I went and headed to check out. Everything in total, fabric, zipper, and the cute pillow, and it came up to about $44. Which I think is pretty good. Then I dashed into the Thai restaurant with my food in hand. I was ready to get started. I didn't really have an exact plan. I just started putting things together. I had this idea of a bodice for the front and back, and so I went ahead and cut that out and fit it to my body. I had to stop my project just for a second to pet my little baby Honeysett because she's the cutest baby ever. Then I sewed up the bodice and then took patches of fabric and just sort of haphazardly attached them together to make up the skirt. I also sewed some darts into the sides. I also sewed on some extra pieces to give that patchwork effect like you see in the picture. Then I added a zipper in the back, and here you can see how the skirt is coming along so far. Looking pretty good. I made the bottom skirt flare out a little bit. That's just my personal preference. And here is Honey the Bunny looking annoyed with me because she hates when anything distracts from her, including projects, work, or even sleeping. But then she decided to loaf here so that she could both rest and judge me at the same time. So here I was cutting triangles in the bottom to give it that sort of uneven edge and make it look more like scraps like it is in the movie. I cut some little triangles in the sleeves also to give it that little bit of a shaggy effect. At this point it's the next day and I'm so tired I'm starting to question every decision in my life that brought me here to this moment. But there was no time to quit because I still had to paint on all the details for the dress. So I took some black puffy t-shirt paint like you get at the craft store and I sort of just freehanded these big swirls all over the dress. Nothing perfect, just some happy little swirls. I did some larger ones and some bigger ones to just kind of make it look a little bit random. This is when Honey decided to pull up on me and bring the smoke. She totally smudged the dress and I had to try and fix it real quick. It looks kind of okay. Look at her over there, just resting like she owns the place, which she does. Look at this little criminal. Then for the blue part, I painted a bunch of little skinny stripes, sort of just staggering their spacing, and then also made a bunch of big polka dots, then some little polka dots and some big polka dots. At this point, I'm so tired, I'm seeing spots. So was life imitating art, or was art imitating life? When I got up the next day, I was so exhausted, I thought I might be living a nightmare. Nightmare? You get it? Like the movie? Okay, moving on. This year I tried the dry water-soluble pen that was recommended, and all I have to say is, absolutely not. It would not go on, it would not dry. I managed to stipple it on until it looked semi-decent, although still damp. I also got a pair of these light blue tights off of Amazon, and I put one on my legs and then cut the crotch out of the second one in order to pull it over my head as a top. This saved me having to paint my entire body, especially since it was smudging, and also kept me warm. I just painted on some stitches on my legs and arms with the same black t-shirt puffy paint. I unfortunately lost the clip of me applying it to my face, but this is part of it and I'm starting to feel like handsome Squidward. I put on the red wig and started painting the stitching on my neck with some liquid liner. This was not waterproof, but I highly recommend using waterproof. I glued on my eyebrows and now I decided to fill them in with some black powder because respect to my girl Sally, but I'm not trying to run around without eyebrows. Then I added some white liner to the waterline of my eyes and outside to give the illusion of a bigger Tim Burton eye. Then I applied some magnetic liner onto the top of my lids, applied the black liquid liner again to the bottom and a little bit of a wing to make my eyes larger. Then I painted on some little spindly lashes on the bottom of each eye. So I went ahead and added a red lip and started drawing the stitching on the side of my face. I only had one shot at this, but I think I ate. Added some stitching again all over the mouth with the black liquid liner. I think this turned out pretty well considering it was a rush. And voila, we are done. Here is the finished look. I added some striped socks and little black booties. I love how the patchwork detailing worked out in the skirt. I have the stitch work all over my arms and on my legs and the uneven edge on my sleeve. And to complete the look, I have this adorable Jack Skellington purse. Thanks for watching. Mwah! See you next time.